Hey guys, what's going on today?
Hey Scott, thank you very much for that wonderful intro. Brad, how's your mic?
I hope it's on. Boy, it's been 3 weeks since we've done one of these Q&As, huh?
Now it's been too long, but as you know, when you and I get together, it's an opportunity to have the best one we've ever had.
Always striving for the best.
But you know, we take that seriously. It's not just for show. All right, before we begin and completely blow your minds, okay, I want to set the bar high, Brad. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it has been 3 weeks. We have done quite a bit, so.
You guys, get your seatbelt on. You know, tighten that thing. We're going to be making some corners, not like the Indy 500, of course, Brad.
Daytona 500?
That one too.
Keep it a little bit more, news appropriate.
Yes. All right, and before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, Trade Ideas is a technology company that focuses on education. All the information you're going to hear from myself, Brad, Scott, Barry, any of the members of the Trade Ideas team are not to be construed as investment advice. If you need specific custom-tailored investment advice, please contact a registered investment advisor, which Trade Ideas is not. However, like Wolverine, Brad, we are the best at what we do.
And we do a lot of really good stuff, so yeah.
All right, let's get ready to rock and roll. When we came to you last time, Brad, this was in there. Work with me. Didn't we do this yet?
I think we had just released the news. We're still continuing to tweak and upgrade the news as far as our queries and bringing in more relevant content. But yeah, this is the last bit of functionality that it may not have actually been in a physical release at the time of the QA. So this is the most recent thing that we had done.
Okay, so when you were here last time, we were talking about how we added news because we don't want you floating around other windows. We want to make it easy for you to see exactly what's going on. And there's a new tab called News. Okay, fantastic. And it was shortly after this, Brad, that we started the test drive. Correct?
Yeah, that's right. And that's why we've been on hiatus for a couple weeks from the webinars. So yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's whoops, hold on a second. Okay. So we did the news. We had the open house. I could have sworn I had an open house slide, Brad, but it's okay. I'll talk to it. So we launched the news, so you can see that it's all linked. And today I'm going to be showing you this. We're innovating at a pace that I think you guys just have never seen before from other vendors. So Brad, do you see what I've created for our audience today on the upper left-hand side of the slide? It's a channel called Discovery. And guys, I'm so excited to show this to you because again, we're just innovating in a way that I haven't seen in a long time, and we're sprinting. So check it out. Brad and I are testing what's coming to beta for you soon. It's a tab called Similar. Okay, so I'm gonna escape here. I'm just jumping right to it, Brad. I don't even care. Okay, so here you are. I want to make sure that you can see my screen. Is everyone able to see this beautiful Discovery channel?
I see your screen.
Okay. So notice, ladies and gentlemen, on the right-hand side, you have two single stock windows, and they are designed to show you stocks that are similar to whichever one is coming in here into the charts. And they're being populated by a couple of top lists that are being served. So you're like, okay, if you see this, okay, you can be like, okay, now this is an interesting stock. I really like this because I like this turnaround pattern, okay? And it's so sneaky, Brad. It's so sneaky. It surfed away from that one. I really like that one. But the point is, okay, whatever it is you see, you can find other stocks in two different modes. Okay, there's a view mode for price action. In other words, let's all type in Tesla for a second, just so you can get an idea.
It's funny. It's so sneaky because we haven't built the pause into.
Of course, I know.
It's early.
But you got to be an expert. I've got to be able to do it. Okay, guys, I'm fast on the draw. But okay, here's Tesla. So Tesla ran up 7.5% today. Here's what it did. Okay. Here we have a view of other car companies. So this one, the view mode, is competitors on the right. Okay. So these are all the different Tesla competitors, Ford, GM, etc. But here are stocks that behaved like Tesla today. Okay, now this is what the Tesla chart looked like. Okay, so we can kind of go on these and see it. Well, this is what this chart looks like. And my goodness, Brad, do I really like how, oh, it did it again. Basically, I like how it runs me through some of these and I see the amazing calls that AI has had on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look at that.
I mean, look at this, guys. I mean, this is what it's about. It's like we're proud papas. Okay, yeah, thank you, Mike. Endo Farm. Let me put that in there. So, ENPH. Okay, so quick. Is that? No, that's energy phase. Okay, my bad. So nothing traded exactly like that today, Brad? Is that what the case is?
Yeah, I mean this is still this is why it's in beta, and we're not even in beta, in alpha, and we're still tweaking the formulas.
Correct. We're still working on it. But the bottom line is, guys, that you can see that whatever it is you want to check out, and at the high level, I mean, it does exactly what you want it to do. Here's Dell. Here's other companies like Dell that are similar in terms of what they do, computer manufacturers. And here's the the stocks that behaved like Dell today. If you look at the detail, it was up 1%. But here's other stocks that are also up 1% or doing similar things. And that allows you to kind of play with the pricing. You're like, okay, well, Dell's a $53 stock, right, Brad? I can go to EBR and put in a buy order right there. So now you guys
we're using a couple different factors there with respect to the price action. It's also looking at that longer term time frame with respect to its position in the year range. So
correct. But the idea, guys, and this is what we're really trying to tell you, is we're innovating here. So it's so cool because this is a discovery channel, because you're seeing things that are similar, both on the right hand business. You can quickly go to the news, but here you're seeing the competitors. So what the hell is KMDA? A biological, boom. So look, boom, 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 boom. Here's all its competitors. And here's the ones that are like similarly trading to it. Different prices.
You know, if you don't know what it is, hit profile, take a look, you can read it.
And the beauty really, okay, is that you've got these buttons right here, okay, that are connected to your Brokerage Plus that allow you to now visually place trades in. You know, so here's my buy, and here would be my stop. But I can then move it. You know, let's see. Okay, let me give it to here, and maybe make my buy a little bit like right as it breaks above that previous high. So do you see what I'm saying? I'm able to trade these similar patterns with similar stock prices, and now I'm covered like all where I feel like the most comfortable. Let's say, you know, just hypothetically speaking only. Here, you can take your buy button and say, okay, put that right up here and get my stop and move it right to the lows right here. You're all set up. This is the ability to trade without emotion, okay? You're using Brokerage Plus, which is hidden in the background. Again, I made this channel just really to demonstrate how fast we're moving on the idea generation side and being able to show you something that you haven't exactly seen before in the same way, and have that flexibility to say, okay, well, here's this thing. Well, what's the news? Okay. you know, and you can double click and boom. It is so, Brad, like encompassing, you know, when I really think about how far we've jumped on this thing. And the fact that you can just go in different directions. Like you can start in the industry group, and then when you see something, you can just go right to that thing that where you feel your price action looks.
So there are a couple of really neat features within this window. Not only can, like Dan showed you, determine whether you want to look for competitors or price action, you can take any of these and pop it out. So I think you have the version that allows you to pop it out now, right? And so you can take this and turn it right into a top list, customize it a little bit more. You can freeze it if you just want to leave those as a static list right there.
Yep.
So yeah, then it won't update, and
you just watch this as like kind of like a portfolio, where you can see how much of something is up or down. So there's so many different ways, Brad, to kind of key in on things. But the beauty, right, is right when you see exactly the competitors. What are they doing? Well, okay, so another steel maker, awesome. Click on this one. What is this? And again, it'll hopefully give you a quick setup. Here's the competitors, and here's the ones that are trading. It's you know, Brad, it gives you that freedom to really start to trust your eyes. So, you know, I always, and I think this is something that people find often when they do this stuff, where you know what you like. You know, it'd be nice to catch like a nice turnaround, and it's behaving this way where it ran up, pulled back, and now it's starting. And if it goes again, well, heck, we're not that far away from an overall run. That's where some of the best stuff comes in. So you do get to participate in an environment where you can just find like, okay, these are bottoming kind of patterns, right? Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, I like this one. And because you trust like the feel that you have for it, you instantly are able to create a pattern that's repeatable. Brad, isn't that exactly what the pros are doing on the golf range?
That's right. You have to find something that works, hone that skill, and repeat it.
That's it. So we're getting you closer and closer, okay, to the behavior of a professional athlete who has to compete at a very high level, okay. Your ability to discover things just completely change with this kind of technology at your availability. And I made a channel for it. So that means that, I mean, I can really try and look at this information on all channels because I have this tab, right? So I can look at something that's like, oh, okay, look at this thing, MYO. All right, well, what's, you know, is there anything similar? What do I have here? Which kind of view do I have? I'm looking at competitors. What about price action? Yeah, okay, MYO, CANF. Yeah, big one. So do you see like this power now? And of course, anything you like, you know, you can look at the fangs, Amazon, what's it doing? You know, let's find something similar. Whichever way. You now have and it's supposed to be easy, Brad. That's one of the other things that I love. You know, this is supposed to be easy. And here you find things, you're like, okay, let me see. Maybe I'll put in a buy order right here to test it.
That's sure interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, look at this kind of, you know, and it's pharmaceutical. That means this is where the big opportunities are hidden, right? And
I mean, you have to look at the stock in multiple time frames. You know, you look at it just today and you're like, oh my gosh, it's really overbought. And, you know, do I want to get into something like that? But then when you look at the longer term time frame, there's tremendous opportunity there if it's managed properly.
well, look at this thing. You're talking about a move from 8 to 41 to 8. Okay, well, I'm going to see if there's any kind of pullback, you know, and again, once you kind of zoom in, you can really see, what did I do here? Maybe I overshot it a little bit.
So it's interesting. I noticed that you're using Brokerage Plus here and simulated trading kind of in a way that someone might use the price alerts as well, right?
Absolutely. Well, Brad, you know, I've always said that the price alerts to me were a gateway to, because ultimately, right, it's you executing some sort of a systematic approach. And with price alerts, you know that they're there, but you then like have to like in your mind, well, what am I really doing with it, et cetera, et cetera. This makes it a trade. You know, that's the difference to me. It makes it a trade, and the trade then forces you to think about the risk reward. So, you know, I look at this and I look at where am I going to put the stops? You know, maybe I can just actually let it go right here. Still comfortable. I'm not going to be in too many shares. Do you see what I mean? Like you can start to really feel it, and it's up to you what you do. You can say, well, maybe it's this right here at this level. You know, I want it to stay stable below here because otherwise, you know, don't need to even worry about it. So you learn to, again, visually properly associate things, find similar patterns, which I totally love. I mean, look at this. This is beautiful stuff, Brad. I hope everyone's paying us. I mean, you can just, because look at the big turnaround. Look at what you're going for here, right? You're trying to get into a mode where you're like, okay, this thing could really go above 2. There's no resistance. And, you know, you can almost kind of go to here. There you go. You got it covered. This is creating the master plan. And once again, you can see that Brad and I just have a development version where this is available. It's a similar tab. We're in the, you guys are seeing, this is what your Q&A is for, okay? It's to show you what's in the pipeline, to show you how fast we're innovating. You know, the other thing I'm showing you is these buy and sell buttons, which, by the way, if you don't know how to use, you need to have your Brokerage Plus be turned on, and you need to set the default for each button. Like my default, I believe, is buying $2,500 and putting a stop at market, at the low, sorry, okay? So for everything that I do, whenever I put a buy, boom, it instantly generates my predetermined stop. So I've got this power to just quickly, you know, say to myself, okay, I can just try so many things out because I know that I'm covered here, boom.
So, and another way that you can do it, and everybody's got, you know, the way that feels comfortable for them. We have this right-click menu that you could right-click either on one of the top list alert windows or on the chart, and you could do a trade from that. And these instructions right here, in fact, that I think is it that 1,000? Is that the one that you've been executing?
Yes, I just
That's what he has assigned to the buy button up at the top.
Yep.
And you do all of this through the Brokerage Plus window.
Yep, yep. So you've got this powerful trade simulator that lets you gauge your skill, modify, adjust, so that you know that the thing that you are doing, you're getting positive feedback. Because, of course, you know, and I love that everybody's here. So Brad, we have a nice turnout here. I got to tell you some other news that's coming. I mean, so you see, we're really ratcheting up very big pipeline of innovation. More is on the way. There's just, you know, with this giving us the ability to see very similar things and put them into action, we're really working hard on creating a way for you guys to experience that in different environments, like the mobile environment perhaps, and even on the web. So many different places where all of this is being implemented.
Yeah, and I just put a link in the chat for the web version, which in fact was upgraded today to the latest version that we've had in beta or in development. We've upgraded the single stock window environment, so we've added some. I think the news has now made it over to the web, and the insiders tab has made it there as well. So we're continuing to enhance the web version to bring it more in parity with what we do with the application. And Brokerage Plus is the next addition that we'll be adding to it.
Right. It's there's so many things happening in real time. You're in the right place because we've never been more motivated to innovate and change the game of active investment. You know, now that there's really zero commission, there's no excuse to not be trying different things and doing proper risk management because there's no cost prohibition, right, Brad? I mean, you're allowed to try make small mistake, try again, versus buy. I mean, you should always be managing risk, but commission can be scary for people. Well, that part is really resolved now. So we're doing that. You're going to be getting to a point where we're going to be implementing the gamification of this. So the more that you practice trade, you can participate in tournaments with other simulated traders, and those that win will actually be able to win real cash money. So it's real gaming, but it's a skill that you will be able to transfer to actual money management, because it's not just simply get lucky and win. It's a combination of proper risk management and trade initiation behavior that you will be graded upon. And again, and of course, performance is a component of that as well. So lots of things that we are very excited about. We just completed the biggest test drive that we've ever had by a large margin, Brad. And I think people are realizing that they do not see other companies innovating at the pace that we're innovating. I mean, there's so many things that are just coming in that we, in essence, we could almost do another test drive, because we have stuff to show, but obviously that's not what we do. But I'm just saying that it's a great position to be in for the customer, because you're getting all of this stuff basically for free. This functionality of the discovery component in terms of the similar tab, I mean, that's coming to everybody.
So let me answer JF's question here. It's kind of might be a little confusing, but his orders seem to be getting timed out after 2 minutes, and I'm sure he's not using the buttons like you have up at the top, which allow you to place stop orders on the stop entry orders, and you can't do that right now. But what you're probably experiencing, JF, is you have a time and force, and maybe Dan will bring in Brokerage Plus. I don't know if you have it there, but and go to your strategy tab. Maybe go to that default strategy that you're using to get in.
Let's go to the strategies, and you can see here.
And just go ahead and edit that.
And you see I right-clicked, and so this is the name, entry time, order details, good for 200 seconds.
Yeah, so that good for seconds right there, this is what's going to be applicable to some type of limit order. A market order is going to get executed, and it's not really going to be that applicable. But if you're using a limit order, this is something that's going to be relevant to your order timing out. But what Dan's doing is he's doing something a little bit different when you're talking about placing the orders right from the chart right there, because we have the ability to place that order at a future price. And you can't really do that from the right-click menu right now. But we'll be adding some additional order types, which will allow you to do that, as well as a GTC option here in the good for seconds. That'll be good till cancel. So.
Of course, you can do the risk management in lots of different ways, and how long you're going to hold it. But the bottom line is, So these are all the positions that I have, and these buttons are now responding to those strategies that I made. So this is where I'm trying to buy, and it automatically puts the stop at the low. And the idea is that, I'm never trying to specifically trade for day trading. Ideally, if it looks very good, I would rather stay in it, because then you're catching a run. Just simply day trading is not, well, it's never made sense to me, Brad, to just simply get out always at the end of the market, because ultimately you're going to be confronted with the fact that there are some runs you can't out trade. That's the best way I can say it. There's just stocks that move in a way that if you're not in it, you're not going to be able to catch it. So once again, here, different page. This is our would you like to play a game? This is a page designed for those that want to experiment with simulated trading. And so here I just switched the single stock window from competitors, which is industry, to price action, which to me is more interesting, because I want to be seeing things that are similar to that thing that I saw. Like, oh, okay, nice. I like seeing that the AI is, on target there. And what a move. That's from this signal to where it is right now. I mean, this is exactly, Brad, the kind of stuff that we talked about on various emails to our test drivers is that this is what we were looking for to separate ourselves from the rest of the vendors. Remember, we are the only ones with a technological, I mean, I haven't even gone to the AI, Brad, right? But we're the only ones with a technological suite that's not just bullshitting, but really trying to solve the scientific problem of trade initiation and risk management in a very mathematical way that also understands who the counterparty is, right? If you're designing something for a hedge fund that has $4 billion, it has to behave one way. But we're looking at people whose accounts are like somewhere around 100,000, which I think can then be 50,000 or 200, but the behavior is not that far off. And that's geared towards you. That looks like you. This is why this is so attractive to people, Brad. You know, it's just a completely different thing.
Maybe you should like kind of maybe fly up a little bit in the helicopter with the channel bar and then move into the AI, because there's a lot of great stuff to show about the AI, and we have a lot of people here that aren't subscribers yet.
No, absolutely. So, okay, guys, look, number one, our channel bar here is sort of like the Netflix of the stock market. For those people that don't know how Trade Ideas works, we already created a bunch of stuff. Like here's a channel that does earnings. And again, you can just see my brokerage plus in the background. So if you want to see like what's going on with earnings, you don't have to, you know, sit there and look around reporting this morning, reporting this afternoon, upside earnings, blowout from yesterday or today, downside. All of this is done for you. Okay, we have channels like Account Builder, which are designed to find the runners. You know, and now that we can find them, okay, you can also find things that are similar. So it is becoming like you're driving more than a Ferrari. You're driving a kind of like a Tesla and a Ferrari together if they were mated.
I don't even want to go there.
I don't know what I'm saying, Brett. But you guys see what I'm talking about. You have this ability to go right to, so Barry, by the way, who's with us in support and does our trading room, he helps lots of people get started with trade ideas, has his own channel. So it's very easy for you to get different flavors is what we're saying without having to really learn a lot, because all you have to do is just click on a channel and everything's set up, ready to run. I mean, you can kind of picture what that might be meaning. Okay, you go, oh, okay, I see what he's saying. Maybe I'll put an order to buy right there if it really gets ready to run. So
these channels really are these channels really are marketably different, whether they're looking at a different universe of stocks or different types of setups. But like go back to Barry's channel, because it shows a completely different way to use the software than what we've done with all of these other channels, where sure, you see the same type of alert window and you see our charts and such, but the alert window really doesn't have any filters in it, I don't believe, and it's really pretty much looking at some symbol lists. There may be a little bit of filtering going on, but it's really predominantly looking at some curation that Barry does every week. He's looking at a variety of stocks that have broken out or maybe are in play, and he's adding those names to these symbol lists here that these particular windows are watching. So when something happens in these particular symbol names that he's been put on this list, it then lights up in these windows right here. And so that's just another way to use trade ideas in looking at groups of stocks rather than having it wide open looking at the universe using the filtering.
Well, there's so many different ways that you can interact. You can build your own custom formulas. Whatever way you want to get nerdy, you can do it with trade ideas, whether it's with layouts, the channel bars, the view modes, getting very sophisticated in creating your own like customized risk strategy or even back testing. You can do anything, but ultimately you don't have to, because let me just come over here. Okay, we've got an AI, and in fact, I love saying this part, Brad. Our AI is the world's only AI that does what it does. Okay, it makes calls by itself. It manages the risk. It gives you a game plan for every stock. You know, when something happens, here's your, you can see it. So this was the entry price. And I actually was doing a little bit of my own discretionary here, but here's your entry at 138, and here's your sell at 166 at the end of the day. Guys, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Not everything is a win. We could never ever say that, but you can see that you've got a game plan. Okay, stopped out. You can see, because the idea is here is that you don't want to accidentally get into something that you can never get out of. So you implement the strategy, and the software does this for you. But ultimately, it's going to be a better selector of trades because it's doing it in mathematics. Look at Brad, look at this beauty. I want you to tell me about this beauty, Brad.
This beauty was signaled about an hour after the market opened here today. Really hadn't broken out to new highs, it doesn't look like. It looks like it was getting pretty close to its pre-market high, or maybe the high just after the open. And boy, did that thing rocket up. Didn't give you a lot of opportunity. They're not all like that, quite honestly. There's a variety of different strategies that the AI employs. Some are momentum breakouts.
But consider that even if you missed this and this, right, here, you could have gotten at 24 and still finished a point and a half away.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, or if you're fortunate enough to have the AI component of Brokerage Plus, then you could automate that, and then you're definitely getting in.
And that's what a lot of people do. But you need to learn how to work with it and understand what happens. And there's, again, it's a growth process that is best achieved through what, Brad? Simulated trading, which
absolutely turn that into a 1 minute chart. Let's go back to the time there and get a closer look, and just kind of scroll back. Well, yes. Yeah, so it didn't really rip away too quickly. I mean, it just popped up and then it really accelerated after a couple minutes.
But but remember, this is 1 minute, 60 seconds, 60 seconds. I mean, here's the 60 seconds. So yeah. It's not like it was completely out of the loop. And this is a part of our offering that, again, other vendors do not have. Okay.
Yeah, and the DAO, that was actually from the quarterback strategy, which is a pullback, that 25-cent pullback coming into it. So, you know, you were getting a good price on that entry there. It wasn't ripping away from momentum. It was actually coming in.
And, you know, this is one of the things that separates ourselves from the common approach of people learning how to like just trade Apple, you know, because there's lots of times, and if you look at the daily, like from here to here to here, this is called the grind. That's all you do and you learn how to trade Apple. I mean, I'm just saying that it can be a very painful experience for various periods of time. Whereas here, we're creating mathematical call signs that are, again, statistically probable, that we hope based on the math, and we get you in. And like I said, one of the critical components here that differentiates us from everything is the whole game plan is built into the technology. In that when you enter, you know, if I put in, let's say I come over here, okay, and I put in a buy price, let's call it right here, okay. And again, notice I can drag it and move it around. Let's say I put it right here, okay. I now know that I do not have to, again, worry anymore. I don't have to focus on anything but just managing the entries, because the exits, as I said before, are already put in right here. So when you, sorry, Brad, what? Because I was on the 1 minute chart. Let's switch back. Okay, so here it is.
Maybe for the sake of demonstration, not because you would ever do such a thing, but just for the sake of demonstration. Maybe put like a price alert just at the high of the day there.
Okay,
and
sure.
So if it happens to break out, you're already going to be in it, right? Because you will have executed that.
Create price alert. And this is just another way to interact with the data. So here you're going to let yourself know, hey, this thing's really going. I've already bought it. I've got my stop, but now you're like, okay. Because again, how do you know? And Brad, we've talked about this before. Maybe this is where you double down.
Maybe so, right?
And these are the
And
different.
that's the window you have in that bottom right-hand corner. If you didn't have it open, it would pop up, but that's where you would see the signal.
And notice, if you're in it, which you would be in this case, all you would have to do at this moment when you saw this click is go right to it and press right here. Make sure it's obviously on the right thing, and boom, double. And that's what this is for. It's that, Brad, it's that synergy between why are these buttons there and and again, the alert notification, because to really maximize your return, you do have to start playing at that higher level where it's not just simply get in and then get out. There is that management potential of the whole thing. You know, it's another active step. But it allows you, much like proper strategy in blackjack or poker, to really take advantage of a statistical run when it comes your way. And I think that's the key for us to help you do that better than anyone ever could. And again, that's what you're seeing.
I think, hey, do me a favor. I think you probably have a couple columns that are hidden on Brokerage Plus. Make it a little wider here. I think you have is there a downside? I guess you don't have the downside column in here.
Let me put that in.
But this is a nice management column, so you can see exactly your exposure on any of these positions. Not exposure from the perspective of how much capital do you have in each position, but your exposure from the perspective of if you were to get stopped out or if it was to go all the way back, how much would you lose? So this is a good way to see, you know, if you in fact have stops placed on these positions and if they're too far away for you.
Yeah, like for example, this one I would say, and notice here it tells you like a number. As I move, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna put this right here. That way I lock in profit. You really cannot do any better than that. I mean, here once again, I can just come in and say, okay, I'm gonna move it a little bit here.
And you can see where your entry is at $1.59 right there. Looks like you bought it on two separate occasions at the same price.
That's right. And now now that I already have it, I can cancel this order and just work with this one. So Brokerage Plus really becomes, ladies and gentlemen, your ultimate Ferrari, Tesla-esque environment where you can practice various components of automation. If you see something really cool, like for example, Brad, and I think this one is, let's go to the Holly AI. I love this just component of experimenting. Oops, sorry. I meant to say Omni. All right, so today we had a couple of like really nice winners, but let's contemplate. Let's go back to view mode and go to price action, done. Okay, so here we've got CANF, and once again, you can see, okay, well, here are the ones that are similar. It's that powerful. So you can hopefully see, okay, well, here's DAO. What do we got here that could be doing the same thing? Okay, something like this, but much cheaper. These are the examples that I love. So not only can you just find something similar, but you can work with the AI. And Brad, doesn't it kind of, I mean, to me, this adds a gigantic AI steroid booster, you know, because all the winners, right, they have a characteristic. So here you're going to CNDT and you're saying, okay, what's that like? And the software tells you. And the beauty is you get to find these other ones that are kind of like, you know, in that price range. Okay, APDN, beautiful. Just put that right here. You are becoming, your AI is becoming better, Brad. That's the only thing I can say. Because you know that you and I, as we were designing this, we hadn't even played with that part yet, with what I was just doing. Big fella.
Yeah, so there's a question here by Peter that wants to see how you could put a trade out not using that buy and sell buttons, and I would just suggest maybe show him the order entry panel on Brokerage Plus.
Sure. So it's right here. So I can go to DELL and I can type it in here. Okay, so here's Dell computer, and I want to buy 400 shares at 53.05 and hit buy. So it's very similar. And once you have it, you can, of course, move it up and down however you want to. So again, the buttons are simply a visual way to do it, because a lot of times, believe it or not, Steve, people are not used to like going to putting in a stock, like let's say Cisco here. I'm just again using stocks as that a lot of people know. So they're like, okay, well, what do I have to do here? Okay, what price do I want to buy it at? And then they're putting it here, and then they have to type that exact number in. Whereas when we do it here and we grab it, we can just drop it exactly where you want to. Boom. And that's the advantage. It gives you that pure visual kind of ability to trade it.
So I've received this question quite a few times over the last couple of weeks, so maybe we can, I'll anticipate someone wants to ask it, and maybe we can show them. But maybe minimize your Brokerage Plus and show your Omni AI right there. And right there, you've got shares of 100. It looks like every single trade, shares of 100, you've got certain profitability or losses based on that. And just like in Brokerage Plus, we give you the ability to customize how you want to get into these positions. Do you want to do it with a consistent share size? Do you want to do it with a dollar value or even a risk value? So this is where you would do it. You would go into the options menu from the toolbar, go to the AI trade size, and this is where you can customize it. And this would be $2,500 per trade you'd be allocating. It would determine the right number of shares to hit that value, and that's how you get in. So this is this right here really allows you to simulate different scenarios from the AI perspective. Gives you some some ways in which you could configure your Brokerage Plus, and maybe you want to do it just based upon a risk value. Maybe you only want to risk $100 per trade, and that's basically looking at the stop price of every one of these signals and saying, boy, if I get stopped out of this, then I'm only going to lose 100. And again, it'll size you appropriate for that particular scenario.
A little worse on the P&L, but yeah, you can see what would happen, how many shares. It's a very sophisticated but yet richly feedback system that lets you make critical assessment of your own performance in it, the visual lines. And we're about to add something else, which is something that I think, Brad, I was trying to get into before, but it's better to do it on the end because I lost my train of thought. But we are going to start implementing a buying power component to your trading. We're going to start everybody with $100,000. And Brad, are we doing the 400,000 buying power? Is that what it is?
No, it's actually 400,000. It's 4-to-1. We're giving you intraday 4-to-1 buying power.
Intraday 4-to-1. But the reason we're doing that is that once you start simulated trading, we will be tracking your account. So you can see exactly how many percentage points you're up, how many percentage points you're down, get yourself real feedback, and eventually, this is the same kind of grading system that will be used for the gamification. So we can see again who's doing the best, who's doing the worst, and making sure that again the best and the proper brokering and trading behavior is manifest. So lots of very, very exciting stuff. Brad, I'm gonna go right back to the presentation here real quick.
Let me take. You can stay here. That's no big deal. But let me take JF's question regarding the 3 different AIs, and we do have 3 different segment AIs. The AI is a pretty cool piece of technology in the way that it optimizes strategies. But in these different segments, they operate in a little bit different ways. We have the first segment, which is Holly AI. That was the original one. Based upon about 50 different strategies that get optimized on a daily basis. Holly 2.0 is very similar to Holly Grail, which is Holly, the very first one that we put together. It's just doing a completely different set of optimization. So it's running through the same technique of optimization, but using a different statistical model and coming up with some different strategies. Sometimes they're similar, sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're a little different. Holly Neo is a new one that we've been experimenting with, which really it takes the same strategies every single day, and it'll present you with those strategies regardless of how they've been optimized. They're a lot more momentum in nature, a lot more volume takes place in these from a relative perspective. You're going to find some incredible movers through this, but at the same time, you may find some stocks that really take a big percentage hit too. So be careful as you get into Neo. We do have plans with respect to Holly 2.0 to incorporate more swing trading. So that's our plan to bring in swing strategies that have been optimized for multi-day holds. All of these are optimized right now to be profitable at the end of the day. And we feel like that's the first step in even approaching a swing scenario. We want you to be profitable in a position of strength to be able to determine whether you want to continue to hold it or let it go for the day. So that was kind of my little spiel on the 3 different segments. I hope that helped a little bit, JF.
I think that was pretty good. So you guys, we just included our 2-week test drive. Like I said before, I'm grateful for everybody that participated, and we're so excited that there's so much enthusiasm for what we're doing. You can see we have a very strong pipeline that will take us well into 2021 right now. At least that's the way I see it. But we are a subscription as a service business, and this is how much we cost on a per day, but you pay monthly or yearly. And of course, today there is a 15% off promo code called New Trades that you can use, all caps. And when you check out, you say 15% off on your first month or off the whole year, which is typically what people do. We do a podcast, myself and Mr. Hodge. We haven't done one this year yet, but we had lots of guests. So again, this is where we break news, talk about different things related to trade ideas, and just give you a glance at the innovation pipeline. We just offered a new ebook, I believe Scott was mentioning. At least Brad, I thought that we did. So you guys definitely want to check that out. All the ebooks that we do, we just launched a new one. Go to trade-ideas.com/setup, and you can take a look at everything that we have there. Before I go over here, I just want to reiterate this one thing. Guys, ladies, everyone who's doing it, you really should be simulated trading. If you're not, you're missing a gigantic component. Brad and I, who trade real money, we practice in the sim mode. Because when you want to try stuff out, like what I was saying before, Brad, about how do you know if to double? Well, you got to practice for about a month, you know, to see if it works. Get feedback. If it doesn't, then don't do it.
Very good advice.
I mean, I cannot reiterate that more. And we're going to give you lots of incentive to practice. So keep your ears tight. Again, thank you for subscribing. So many people, so many new people are joining us right now from the test drive. Very pumped for that. We're very easy to get a hold of on social media. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere else. And if you have any questions, please shoot us an email with info@trade-ideas.com or call us at the number you see there. Scott, I think we are all good.
Yeah, we'll have the recording up tonight or tomorrow morning, and everyone gets an email tomorrow with a link to the playlist. That's about it. Have a good one.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.